In our show, you will go on a journey with Joe and Betty Wilson as they experience the roller coaster ride of the stock market when you put all your eggs in one basket. For our target market, we look to young professionals who for the first time have disposable income and decisions that need to be made with what to do with it. Joe is smart but very stubborn. He views himself as the head of the household and makes all of the decisions, especially about finances. He is normally very conservative with his money, but isn't opposed to taking a gamble when it comes to his investments. Betty, a sweet and introverted wife to Joe, has been used to taking the back seat to Joe when it comes to big decisions, including their finances. However, the time will shortly come where Betty realizes the need for her to get her own knowledge and make her own decisions. Bill is the general manager at Investing Done Right. He has been extremely successful as a financial advisor and very rarely misses when it comes to his stock picks. However, every once in a while he has a customer such as Joe who refuses to take his advice. Lucas is a young college graduate who is currently training at Bill's stock market firm. Lucas is really outgoing with high energy. Lucas has work history, but not any experience with the financial industry. Lucas turns out to be very pushy with the customers and overzealous, which tends to scare off new buyers. He even tends to feel as if he is superior to his fellow coworkers due to the elite school he previously attended. Lucas needs to study and get his act together to help Bill and his team, rather than continuing his act and possibly losing his position. Sally is Joe and Betty Wilson's sweet elderly neighbor. She constantly looks out for them and their kids, and becomes concerned about Joe's growing addiction to the stock market. Joe begins to avoid her so that he can avoid the lectures that come along with talking to her. Judy is an HR representative at Bill's firm. She is very sweet and gets along with everyone, including clients and coworkers. However, after meeting with Joe and hearing about his financial dilemma, she begins to see that he is a get-rich-quick kind of person and will be hard to deal with. Due to the fact that she favors a conservative approach, she does not agree at all with Joe and does not feel he should invest all of his money in one segment of the market. But she too, like Bill, has to let him make the decision for himself. Nancy is one of Betty's coworkers. This is the person that Betty goes to when she finds out of the financial troubles that her and Joe are having. Nancy is the head of the finance department at their work, so there's no one better that she could go to when she finds out about her and Joe's financial woes. In episode 1, Joe meets with Bill, the general manager of Investing Done Right. He tells Bill that he has recently received a $50,000 bonus from work and he is looking to open an investment account. Bill sits down with him and goes over his investment objectives to see what he is looking to do. Joe tells him that he is looking to double his money as quickly as possible for his children's college education. He tells him he wants to put all of the money in small cap stocks because he heard that is what is most aggressive and that's what will earn returns the quickest. Bill tells him this is a very bad strategy. To put all of your money in one sector of the market is way too risky and he needs to diversify it. Joe tells him that he has researched this plenty and this is what he wants to do. Bill continues to try and talk him out of it, but in the end, Joe is very set in what he wants to do, and he tells Bill to invest all of his money in the small cap stocks, like he said. In episode 2, after investing all of his money in the stocks that Bill advised against, Joe sees huge gains. Bill is happy for Joe, but again tries to get him out of the risky stocks. He advises that Joe sell 75% of the stocks and invest them in safer securities. That way he is properly diversified. He still has 25% in the small caps that he desires, so he can take advantage of the market gains in that sector. This does not make sense to Joe, and he begins looking for ways to get more money to invest in the same stocks. In episode 3, Joe's wife Betty begins to ask questions about how he has invested his bonus. He tells her about his plan of putting it all in small cap stocks and tells her how much he has gained even though Bill, their financial advisor, has told him not to do it. He tells her he's doing it so he can pay for the children's education and it is worth the risk. She is skeptical, thinking that he should listen to Bill, and questions why he wouldn't listen to somebody with so much experience. He tells her that he knows what he's doing and uses the recent gains as proof that his plan will work. Episode 4. The more Joe talks about the small cap investments, the more Betty realizes how little she knows about finances. Disgruntled, she decides to do her own research in order to feel more informed on the matter. She begins to consult with staff members at her office who is in charge of finances. She decides she wants to know everything. She shadows under her coworker Nancy to learn more about the paychecks, taxes, Social Security of employees, as well as the financial circumstances of the business. She looks at their quarterly financial reports to go over investment gains and losses, and tells her she wants to know everything from top to bottom so that she can make an informed presentation when she talks to Joe. Eventually, everything that Bill said was a negative possibility regarding Joe's stock purchases begins to happen. His portfolio begins to drop rapidly, and despair begins to set in. He discusses this with Betty, who is so enraged that she kicks him out of the house, rather than having him there and being forced to constantly think about their crumbling financial situation. In episode 6, Joe finally begins to face the reality of the poor decisions he has made and sets out to fix them. He spends all of his spare time trying to think of solutions to right his wrongs. He is determined to get his family back and correct their dire financial situation. After all of his brainstorming, Joe finally realizes that Bill is the solution to the problems he has gotten himself into. He sets up a meeting with Bill and lets him know that he will heed all of the advice he gives him. After they hammer out a plan and get Joe's portfolio properly diversified, Joe heads home to talk to Betty and apologize. After telling her he finally sees that his stubborn ways have hurt everyone and he is sorry, she lets him come home. Finally, for the first time in a while, Joe's life is back on track. Thank you for going on the journey with us through the highs and lows of the stock market. We hope you enjoyed it.